In this video, we're going to be going over e-collar engagement work. Now, I tap the e-collar, tap, every time I do something. The goal is to wean off of your verbals. Now, obviously, there's another tap. Tap again, looks at me, good. And then we move. See that little jump right there? Not too worried about that right now, but you'll see a dog later where I have to address it. So when I'm first starting this with a dog, I'm giving leash guidance, verbal, low e-collar tap. Once that dog gets into a groove, I wean off of the verbal. And then an even better groove, I wean off of the leash. And the goal is for them to respond just to those very low cues. Now you're gonna see me a few times here have to tap twice. And her default down, that's just what she does. She's good at it, it's fine with us. But what you're gonna see, another tap right there, I didn't change levels, but there are several points in this video where she's sniffing, another tap. She's sniffing or super distractive, where I do go up levels. In fact, I ranged all the way from a 5 to a 12 for one particularly good distraction in the window right here. And scroll up, tap again. So you might not be able to see me scroll. I'm pretty quick at it at this point, but I can scroll just a few levels in a second, and then I scroll back down for the next turn, okay? So that wasn't supposed to be a down. That was supposed to be a slow down. She defaulted to a down. That's all right. So when you're doing engagement work, you've got these turns where I'm looking at her, I'm waiting to see if she follows me. I stop, and that's a sit or a down. And then I go from a fast to a very slow pace. But it's a sudden slowdown, okay? It's not a slow down. It's fast and then boom, slow. All right. Once your dog is e-collar trained, you should only be doing this a few minutes for a warm-up, especially in more difficult situations, like if you're about to go into a store or you're in a busy area. Maybe your dog is nervous of other dogs or formally reactive and you want to get them more engaged with you. If that's the case, your levels are going to change a lot and you're going to vary more in your motivational levels, not just cues. Keep that in mind. But as soon as you can, get rid of those cues and only use your e-collar if you're repeating yourself. Now this is Jet. He's still on e-collar cues because he was early in the process here. And so every command I give, I'm tapping the button to teach him how to understand what the e-collar means. Good boy. Now if he had any nervousness of bikes, I would have, first of all, given distance and maybe walked him by it rather than having him sit, but he doesn't have any nervousness. We'd already seen so many bikes. I knew how he felt about them. And instead, I gave him the food after the bike passed rather than before. Now see that right there? That's one of Jet's things. He is a major jumper and disrespecter of space. So I'm using the jogging to instigate him. And when you hear me saying no, I'm tapping the button. Oh, right there, he got a tap, a firmer one too. Because my first couple didn't really get through to him, and I don't want to nag him to death. I need to find a level that isn't too high, but is enough to be like, don't jump on me again. See, look how good he does the second time. Much better. He changes his mind about what he wants to do when I start jogging. So his downs are still a little slow. We're going to play around with a couple of different techniques to speed him up. Obviously, it's not too fun. That's a no. Tap e-collar, then I reset with guidance. But part of it's probably laying down on coal and concrete, but his downs are just a little slow in general. So we'll do a combination of more accountability as well as a little bit more fun food repetition, just combining those two things to see if we can get some less resistant downs, because he's always a little bit like that. So just working around him, making sure, me going in a full seat. He did that on his own. He fixed himself on his own on that one. He was too quick for me to reset himself before I could say no and tap the button. And then that's just a recall to me. So you probably saw me tap the button when I recalled him to me. He's on cues right now. So every communication I'm giving him is a tap cue. And then I might go, I think he was at a 6 or 7. I might go up to 9 if I need a little bit more oomph, but that's still pretty low for him. All right, so we have a crazy golden doodle. They couldn't walk by us. They had to stop and let us walk by them, which was why you didn't get to see it, because we had to wait so long, and then I realized they weren't going to walk by us. Now he does do, you don't get to see it, I tried to wait, he does do a big jump, a big initial jump towards that golden doodle. See, they're having to hold on to it with 2 hands, and he gets really bouncy here. And I corrected him, and he didn't understand. He's like, I don't understand. This is a fun golden doodle. Why can't I go play? So I corrected him, and then I had him sit for food, and then we followed them, and he did really good following him. And this is a lesser distraction. This is another way to handle a distraction. You do a sit or down stay, recall away from the distraction. So that's another way you could handle distractions. I didn't think he would listen to me recalling him from another dog yet, which is why I didn't do that with the golden doodle. Now here we heel by a dog that acts like he doesn't care about us, and then boom. So you see him kind of be like, what the heck? And we bubbled out. You always give space. That's why you never walk by dogs that you do not know. But hopefully that gives you an idea. Dogs under 2 years old, you don't only do leisurely strolls, you got to work your dog. And if food makes your dog too hyper, too distracted, don't use it. That's not what it does to Jet. It helps Jet, so that's why we use it. If you like this video, make sure that you like and subscribe.